Dang, dude. Like I have the same question. Like, why do women go to Florida to cheat? It's like it's always Florida, right? Dang.
I caught ex-wife on vacation. What's cheating on a yacht? I guess my Air Force Special Tactics experience was put to use in my life after retirement. I was able to sneak on the yacht my ex-wife was on. She was cheating on me. My ex-wife lied and told me she was going on a girls' trip to Miami, and I needed to trust her if we wanted to continue our wonderful relationship. I was 53 at the time. She was 26. I know. Huge age gap. I'm sure you all will claim I'm a disgusting old man and I got what I deserved. Maybe true. Maybe she was using me for my money. Anyway, I'd love to share my story with you. True story epic. Hopefully, your YouTube family will accept me as I have changed drastically over the years. I'd gone so long with not marrying, and for some reason, I decided that I was lonely and wanted to give it a go. Gentlemen, take a listen to my story and please learn from it. So, at the time we were married for 2 years, ex-wife told me that she wanted to go out with her girlfriends and she missed them since she's been married to me. She never hung out with her friends. I always knew about her and her friends and how they used to go out all the time. But when she met me, she said she wanted to settle down and we were trying for a baby, but we had issues in that department. My ex wife Maria told me how she missed her friends, and she was a bit distraught about not being able to give me a child. She told me she just needed to get away and have a good time. I told her that I never liked girls' vacations and things like that, and she knew that about me before we got together. She convinced me that none of her friends were that way, and I remember her saying how one of the women that were going to be there was an older girl, and she's like an auntie to one of her friends, and she's not going to be having any type of destructive parties or whatever I'm thinking about. I will tell you guys, I was completely against it. I went against my gut. I just felt like something was wrong and something was up. But I told her that it's okay if she went. But I looked in her eyes and I said, "Do not disrespect me." She grabbed me and said, "I will never in my life disrespect you. You saved my life and forever. I'll be grateful for that." I agreed that she could go with her girlfriend in, but leading up to the vacation, the trip, I just kept getting a horrible feeling in my stomach. So, the day of, I started to go through her things. I looked through her laptop. I went through her phone, and I didn't find anything. I almost gave up, guys. I almost said, "I'm not going to do this. I'm just in my head too much, and I'm accusing her of something she's never done before." So I let it go briefly. After an hour of sitting on it and being in my head, I told myself I was going to follow her down to Miami. She's not going to know it. I asked her exactly where they were going to be staying. She gave me two different hotels and said it should be either or. My spidey senses went off because I felt like she was trying to throw me off while she was asleep. I set up a cellular tracking device on her phone, connected it to all of my devices. I knew exactly where she was going to be in real time. I scrambled to find a ticket, and I did. And I had to pay a pretty penny, but I found a flight. The moment she left out of the door with her girlfriend, I could see her movements in real time. I was afraid if she got on the plane and landed, I would completely lose contact, but that didn't happen. So, my ex wife's flight was early morning, 7 a.m. My flight wasn't until 2 p.m. When I landed, the first thing I did was turn my phone on to see if I could still track her. Sure enough, I was able to track her. I saw everywhere she was at. She wasn't at either of the hotels she said she would be at. She was at a completely different hotel. So that made me feel good about showing up because I felt like I was going to find something on her because she's already lying to me. I actually booked my hotel and my plan was to stake out and just investigate. Pretty much an investigator, just like on your other email stories you posted on here. True story. You posted the story where a guy hired a PI to catch his wife cheating. That really motivated me to send you my email because I caught my wife cheating in Florida. What is it with Florida? Do all women go there to cheat? I booked my place and periodically I checked my phone. Once I was in my hotel, she calls me, which was odd because typically we video chat every time we're apart. She decided to call me audio. I accepted it, and I didn't even speak on why she was doing it. I didn't even question her. We talked for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if I can recall. She was telling me they were settling in and how tired they were, so their flight wasn't a direct flight. They left early in the morning, but they had one stop. My flight was a direct flight. She told me how exhausted they were and they were planning on taking a nap. I can hear a couple of girls, but I know between all of the girls there were 3 different rooms, and one room had 4 different girls. Most of them were my ex-wife friends. Some of them were friends of other friends that Maria didn't quite know very well. I said I'm just at home watching TV, about to do some things around the house, and she fell for it. She had no idea. I was less than 15 miles away from her. So, another lie, we got off the phone, and sure enough, I see her moving. She's going somewhere. She just told me they were about to take a nap because they were exhausted. That was not the case. So I got up out of my bed, hopped in the car, and I went to exactly where they were. They went to the beach. I can see them all the way out there. I sat back. I threw up my binoculars, and I could see them quite clearly dancing on the beach, having a good time. Just girls. A bunch of girls. Then, here comes some dweeb, saying, "Hey dude, you're such a pervert. Why are you scoping out girls, you creep?" I looked at him and I said, "Dude, mind your business. I'm not doing what you think I'm doing." He said, "You're doing exactly what I think you're doing. You're a nasty old man looking at people with your binoculars. You little pervert." This dude pulled out his phone and started recording me, calling me all sorts of names that I won't repeat here. This video is actually surfacing online right now today. I tried to pay to get it taken down, but it just keeps popping up. This dude is calling me a creep, saying I'm a pervert, and saying all these nasty names about me, saying there's children out there. Look at this guy. Look at his binoculars. I caught him, guys, but it was nothing like that. I was looking at my wife. I start putting my things in my bag, and this guy is recording me saying, "Look, he's trying to get away." I get in his face, and I was about to knock him out. Next thing I know, police officer pulls up on a bike. "What's going on here? What are you guys up to?" This prick is telling the cop that I'm pervert and I'm spying on women and children on the beach, trying to get video recordings of them and everything. 4 other cops show up. This is becoming a big scene. I couldn't believe this was happening, and this dweeb is really saying that I was looking at these women that I didn't know. I look over and I see my ex-wife and her friends look as if they're packing up to leave. Dweeb is still there, and I'm afraid he was about to blow my cover. The cop eventually asked him to leave. They kept talking to me. He told me that he was gonna post his video on the internet. He really did that. I believe he did it from his own YouTube channel, and that's how it initially blew up. So, he leaves. About time he's gone. I look over, my wife and her friends are right there. My back is to them, and I'm thinking to myself, she's gonna know I'm here. I hear them talking and laughing. I even heard my wife say, "I need to check in with my man." The cops were all over me. I was afraid to go into my pockets or anything, and I wanted to go and cut my phone off to mute my ringer. I then heard her girlfriend say, "Just call him when we get back to the hotel. Let's go." They ended up leaving. The cops held me there asking me, why was I in Miami? Where am I from? My name and everything. They eventually let me go because they had nothing on me. I wasn't recording anything, and I did show them my phone, and I showed them my video recordings, which I didn't have to, and I should not have, but I didn't record anyone. I wasn't paying attention to people. If I wanted to watch people later, I would have recorded it. That guy was a liar and a prick. Maybe he thought he was being a good citizen, but I'm not the guy. There are real peas out there. Probably go and get them and leave me alone. They let me go. I headed straight back to my hotel. I was so frustrated. I didn't even bother to look at the tracking to see where my ex-wife was. When I parked at the hotel, I looked at the tracking and I saw that they were at a restaurant. I decided to drive there, pulled out of the parking lot at the hotel and drove straight to the restaurant. It wasn't too far. I didn't see them anywhere. I drove circles and circles around. Eventually, I saw them getting seated outside. I guess they had to wait. They all were dressed scantily. My ex-wife knows that I don't like that. She's walking around with her chest and part of her thigh showing. I don't like that stuff. Now, what was weird here? Okay, so there's a total of 8 girls on the trip. The table they were seated at, I could see very clearly parked on the street. I had about 8 other chairs, and I wondered why the waitress sat them at such a large table. 5 minutes later, I realized why. A group of guys. They all look like rappers. That's the best way for me to describe them. They look like rappers. 2 of them were white, but the rest of them were black guys. I've never known her to know anybody who was black. Yeah, I mean, we're around black people here and there, like grocery stores and things like that, but she hugged this guy like she knew him. I didn't see any kissing or anything. It was just hugs and laughing, and they were eating and drinking, but these guys had on chains, hats tilted to the side. Some of their pants were sagging. I tell you, the best description is a rapper. Tattoos, some face tattoos, neck tattoos, arm sleeve tattoos. I sat there the whole time to see if my ex-wife would do anything inappropriate or I was going to approach them. Nothing. They were there for an hour and a half before they left. The guys left first, and it looks like one of the guys paid for the bill as well. The girls ended up leaving maybe 10-15 minutes after. I was actually excited because I was drained. I was so freaking tired. I prayed that they were going back to the hotel so I could go to the hotel and go to sleep. I wanted to give this up and felt silly that I was doing this. Seeing those guys did give me a bit of a burst of energy to keep going with this investigation. So, they did go back to their hotels, so I was happy to go back to my hotel. I took a quick shower and I wanted to hurry up just in case I missed them going anywhere. I laid in the bed and I picked up my phone and I saw that they were still at the hotel. I was comfortable enough to go to sleep. I fell asleep quickly, but woke up around 1 a.m. Something just woke me up. I don't typically wake up in the middle of the night once I'm asleep. I'm up in the morning. I don't get up in the middle of the night. I've never been that way. I wake up to a missed call, though, and it was from my ex-wife. I read her text messages. She said, "I guess you're asleep." She told me how she loved me and she wishes I was there with her, but her and the girls slept in and they're going to try to do things tomorrow, but they hadn't left the hotel all day. Another lie. I sat there and watched them. I look at the tracking device and I see that they are on the highway. I said, "Oh no, where are they going? At least my ex is on the highway going somewhere. Where could she possibly be going?" I hopped in my car and I hauled tail. Before I even got to the destination where they were, you can see that there are a bunch of yachts boarding people. I get there and I park. I walk down and there's an event going on, but there's a bunch of yachts being loaded up with people, several different ones. I pull out my phone. I could easily track my ex. I eventually realized that they were on one of the yachts. There was some drunk guy letting people on that yacht. It was huge, and my ex-wife and her friends were on. I guess I tried my luck. I walked up to the guy and said, "Hey, what's going on?" I acted like I knew him. He gave me a strange look at first, then said, "Oh my gosh, how you been?" I said, "I'm good." "Great to see you. I'm so excited about tonight, man." Drunk guy says, "Yeah, man, I'm so excited, man. I've been waiting for this all month." I said, "Come on, let's go. What are we waiting for?" Drunk guy says, "I'm going up to get my D sucked by some bad bitches. You hear me?" I said, "All right, well, come on." He says he has to stay for a bit for others. I said, well, I'll be up here getting my D wet. You have fun down here, dry nuts. And I walked right on just like that. I get there, and this yacht is huge. I don't see my ex wife or her friends, so I look at my phone and it seemed as if they were right there next to me. Then I realized they're down another level. I went to go take a seat on the level I was on because my thought was, she is downstairs probably having sex, and I had to mentally prepare myself. I don't know how long I was sitting there, but the drunk guy was in front of me after a bit and said, "What are you doing? Come join the party. I thought you were going to be getting your D wet." True story epic. I was not prepared for what I was about to see. This really tore me up, man, and I was hurt. It really, really hurt me. We started heading down, and I see one of the guys that was at the restaurant with my ex-wife and her friends. The guy with the tattoos on his face. He shook my hand in a weird way. I was so confused because, shaking his hand, he started doing all these weird movements that I just didn't know what to do. I was confused. He just laughed and said, "Have a good time." By this time, you can hear noises of sex, women just loud as ever. I look at my phone and I tried to guide my way to where my ex wife was. It took me to a door that was shut, and people were clearly in there having sex. I stood out there for a minute. I was just scared. I opened it and I went inside, and there is my ex wife on her back, and one of her friends is standing there on the bed, no clothes on. I said, "Maria, we're getting a divorce." I hope this was all worth it. Maria just stared at me, pushing the guy off. When I realized this man was not wearing protection, I was disgusted. Some black guy with tattoos was banging my wife unprotected. I started to leave and Maria ran after me, grabbed me. I turned around. She's fully nude, telling me not to leave her, and she can explain everything. I looked at her and I said, "How can you explain? A man's inside of you. You lied to me. You promised me that you wouldn't be doing anything disrespectful. You knew how I felt about girls' trips. I went against that. I went against my gut feeling, and here you are having sex, unprotected sex with some guy. We're done. All of your things will be out of my house. It's over." True story epic. I'm not afraid to admit to you and your YouTube listeners that I went back to that hotel and I cried. I was hurt, man, and I still feel the pain right now writing this email to you. I couldn't believe this. I called a lawyer that next morning. Well, the office. The actual lawyer got back with me later, but I filed for divorce. I was terrified that she would try to take everything from me, but she wasn't able to. It didn't happen like a story I heard before. I heard a military guy got married and caught his wife cheating, and she took everything from him. That didn't happen in my case. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Maria knew anything about all of that, having pensions and all this retirement and things like that. She never questioned me about that, and I never went bragging about money that I had with her. I was retired from the military. I worked. She didn't go after my 401k. All she did was beg me to stay married to her and told me that she made a huge mistake. I just ignored her. I ignored everything. I went on with the divorce, and we divorced just like that. She didn't get my house. She didn't get a car. She didn't get a dime from me, and she didn't even fight for those. The only thing she fought for was winning me back. That's an entirely different story. If you guys want to hear that, I'll let you know. Just let me know if you want me to send that part. It was pretty embarrassing for my ex-wife. She did try to get me back. It was pitiful, but I never let that happen. Take care. I hope this is good enough to read on your YouTube channel.
Dang, dude. Like, I have the same question. Like, why do women go to Florida to cheat? You know, it's like it's always Florida, right? Dang. Uh I'm just imagining you walking in and you're seeing that. I know you were devastated. I felt that, man. That had to hurt. Glad you got out of the situation and you got out of it unscathed. Guys, he even mentions it. How many stories, especially from military men, you hear where he gets taken to the cleaners, he loses everything. She gets half of everything. Some reason she said she felt guilty and she didn't want to lose him. Look, man, I think sometimes they just want to go have a weekend and be free, but they really truly don't want to lose their situation, but they have to understand that's not how this works. You can't just go cheat on somebody and then you're letting some dude pipe you down without protection. Like, how disgusting. Ugh. So you were gonna, if he would have trusted you, you were gonna fly all the way back home and still have sex with your husband. It's just disgusting, man. It's disgusting. This type of stuff just makes you just want to just stay in the house and not leave. Like some people are just wrong with people. Guys, let me know what you want to. Let me know if you want to send a story in. I'll read your stories here, guys. Send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. I'm gonna catch you guys at the next.